Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert Camo, the Fantasy Football Counselor. Got an exciting episode. We're talking top 10 running backs for Fantasy Football 2021 pre-NFL draft. Because after the NFL draft, maybe if a stud running back comes in and slides into the depth charts of any of these top 10 studs that I've got here, that's significantly going to ruin the impact of that running back potentially, right? You never know. Some of these guys come in. We saw it last year with Jonathan Taylor. I knew Jonathan Taylor was the guy, but a lot of people thought Marlon Mack was going to start, and that's where the mainstream had Marlon Mack ahead of Jonathan Taylor, which was absolute ludicrous, but that's besides the point, and then Mack got hurt. But listen, the point of the matter is we have to lay out kind of like a foundation. Now, you know me, I don't really believe in rankings. Everything that I do, the guide, the main thing you want to follow is the 16-round draft solution because we see it every year. It's literally, and I'm looking at the consensus rankings now, the top 10 running backs, you could slide in McCaffrey, guys like that got injured. We understand that, but it's pretty much copy and paste from last year. There's really no thought process in the way things are done. I'll give you an example. Back in 2019, we had some good finishers. So in 2020, Kenny and Drake, Austin Eckler, all in the top 10. And I said, listen, Drake has had years to wow us. We're not wowed. He's not that good. And yet he was still in the top 10. I think he was top 10 or 11, right? Coming off at the late first round, early second. Austin Eckler, another guy, right? It's just like they just take last year's top finishers and copy and paste. We see it with wide receivers. Michael Thomas is a perfect example. Had a pinnacle year. They said he's the number one wide receiver and he busted. So you cannot trust rankings, draft kits, all that stuff is dead. 16-round draft solution is the future, guys. I give you all the optimal players to draft in each round, based on hundreds of mock drafts I do, looking at the ADPs, and I tell you where I think the best value is. I'll give you an example. Last year, Josh Allen, 6th round, 7th round. I was recommending him, take him there, right? Try to get him, and do not waste a 2nd-round pick on Lamar Jackson. I explained this in 16 rounds, yet people drafted Lamar Jackson, the Kinshipsis did, and recommended you draft Lamar Jackson in the 2nd round. Michael Thomas, avoid him, go robust RB, right? Michael Thomas busted. I explain all of this, right? In the 16 rounds. Nick Chubb, right? Kareem Hunt's there. He's outscoring him in PPR. Yes, Nick Chubb got hurt, but the point of the matter is Kareem Hunt has outscored him 2 years in a row in PPR, and yet Nick Chubb continues to be in the top 10 right now. And I know he gets a lot of volume, but Kareem Hunt is a thorn. I talk about all the strategies in there to optimize your roster. So 16-round draft solution, first ever and only video training. Guys, pre-order right now, and I will be doing a draw for 5 people. I will be calling you personally during your draft. Yes, be calling you personally during your draft. I'm going to be doing a draw this summer, probably in August, and I'm gonna be there on the call for the first 5 rounds of your draft. If you pre-order 16 rounds, you're automatically entered for the personal call with me to be there for your draft, okay? So whatever you want to do. I'll give you a call, talk to your friends, talk to your teammates. I'll smack talk and whatever you want. Pre-order 16 rounds, you're automatically entered at thefantasyfootballcounts.com. I've linked it below. All right, let's talk about the top 10 running backs. We're going to wind it down from 10 all the way to 1. Make sure you guys smash thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Please, it takes 2 seconds of your time. Hit the thumbs up if you're on YouTube and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of who did I miss out here on the top 10, okay? Now, let's start off with number 10, but I want to, again, I'm trying to give you guys, I'm not just saying here's a top 10 list. It's what I say when I'm explaining the top 10 list. Not like, here's a top 10, this is it. No, there's a reason, there's a rhyme and a reason why I'm going with these guys. And again, this is going to change. So I want to be held accountable. This is pre-NFL draft. I don't really know everything until after the NFL draft, after the depth charts line up, but this is pre-NFL draft top 10. All right, first guy is David Montgomery. Now, David Montgomery currently sitting 20th on the consensus rankings. We've got guys, the mainstream's got guys like Joe Mixon ahead of him. Joe Mixon years to wow, so we're not wowed. His pinnacle year was like 243 points. I think like 8 touchdowns that season. Joe Mixon just doesn't have the ceiling. Now, you could say that Tariq Cohen is coming back. And I get it. David Montgomery is a bit of a concern, and Nagy's at coach, and I get it. Probably Dalton's going to be a quarterback. It's a bit of a disaster. Why I like him is that he had 247 attempts, and he proved that he is the workhorse running back there. Now, again, like I said, Tariq Cohen is going to be a thorn, but I really believe if they want to win, if they want to actually have a chance at dominating this year or even making it, to the playoffs at all, they have to start David Montgomery. So I'm going on youth. I'm going on opportunity based on volume, hoping Tariq Cohen doesn't come in and become a pest. And I got to look at volume. So again, when we look at other guys that are ranked ahead of him currently on the consensus, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I'm not sold on Le'Veon Bell. I was the guy that said Le'Veon Bell sucked. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire is sitting at 17th compared to Montgomery right now on the PPR running back rankings on the Kinshipsis, right? On the consensus. So Allaire, yes, the ceiling is there, but it's a throw first team. We see that he won't get the volume. They always run a bit of a committee. Other guys here, like I said, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. Yeah, I see Swift's ceiling, but again, he's on Detroit. When was the last time they produced a solid running back, workhorse running back, right? They haven't. So based on David Montgomery, and he finished 4th last year in fantasy, believe it or not, right? In PPR, 264 points. That's nothing to, laugh at. Now, you're saying, well, Joe, the mainstream says copy and paste. Yeah, they do, but sometimes when the player isn't popular, they just slide him down. So it's pretty much copy and paste, like I said, with some variances. So David Montgomery was a guy they kind of just slid down because I guess they don't trust him, and he was never a guy that they heavily promoted throughout the year. So, yes, this is a game. Yes, they are playing the popularity contest. And again, I keep going back to guys like Michael Thomas or even Odell Beckham Jr., where he was told and suggested to be drafted in the first round 3 years in a row, busted 3 years in a row. And even after 3 years of busting in the first round suggestion by the mainstream, they suggested you draft him in 2020 as a 3rd round pick, which is ludicrous, right? So does it take 4 years for you guys to get off your train and admit that you're wrong? It's absolutely insane. So number 10, again, I'm going with Montgomery based on youth, opportunity, and volume. I see it being there. Coming at number 9, currently sitting right now. Where is he sitting right now here? On the Consheepsis rack, I think he's sitting at 14th right now. Cam Akers, the guy I got. Cam Akers' ADP should be sliding as long as they don't draft another running back there with the Rams. Cam Akers' ADP should be significantly going up. I like Cam Akers. I love the volume he's going to potentially get. I like the opportunity. We saw him start to really shine last year near the end of the season. Now, if I look at his game log, I like to pull up game logs here, and I'm going to filter here by PPR. What I like to look at here is the volume. So you look at week 13 and on. Week 13, 21 attempts. That's good. 3.4 yards per carry. Not bad. 1 touchdown, put up around 16.4 points. Okay, we get it. But understand, this guy had a nagging injury to the ribs early in the season. They had Henderson there. They figured out near the end of the season that he is the guy. And actually, I don't know what the date was this. I think it was like February 26th. Sean McVay thinks that Cam Akers can be an every down back. Quote, Sean McVay, Cam Akers can be an every down back. They are looking for the Todd Gurley of years ago where he came in and tore it up. Cam Akers has that upside, has that potential, now has a year under his belt. Let's go to week 14, 29 attempts, 171 yards, 5.9 yards per carry. Now, I don't think he got a touchdown that game, but still managed to muster up 21.4 points. Had he put a touchdown in there, that would have been a monster game. Week 15 attempts. Week 17, 21 attempts. So we started to see him really evolve as the main guy. Now, I'm hoping, and I hope I get this guy as part of a robust RB strategy as an RB3. I think he's going to come off like late first, early second. We don't know. Again, I got to see where the ADPs fall. But if you are following the consensus that Consheepsis, he's currently sitting 14th right now, which is really good, which puts him definitely somewhere in round 2 at some point, at least. But I'm looking for possibly that ADP to go up. But the mainstream will keep sticking you to guys like DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, guys like that, Joe Mixon's that you probably don't want to be drafting, okay? So Cam Akers at number 9. There you go. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Comment below. Love to hear your feedback on that. And please smash that thumbs up. Coming at number 8. Now, a lot of these guys, the mainstream have him at number 4, and I totally understand why. The guy I'm talking about is Alvin Kamara. Now, Alvin Kamara, don't get me wrong, the guy is great, okay? You're going to get your 80 receptions. You're going to get your 800 yards minimum. That's kind of like a floor for this guy, right? But when you look at him last year, number 1 finisher, and it's very rare. Last time someone who finished on top last year is going to finish on top again this year, 2 years in a row. Very rare. Now, everyone thought Christian McCaffrey in 2020 was the number 1 pick, but I'm like, hey guys, he had a pinnacle year with 470 some odd points. 2019, 2020, he will decline. Sure enough, he got injured. Alvin Kamara, I'm not predicting injury, but what I am saying is his numbers that you're seeing from last year are inflated. Now, that's why the Consheepsis, I guess, have him at number 4. I still think that's really high for him. I'll tell you why. Alvin Kamara, again, last year, 932 yards, 16 touchdowns. First of all, that's a huge pinnacle, like 16 touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns for a guy like Kamara, who isn't a pound the ball through, in the end zone guy. Now, the big factor is Breeze is gone and Taysom Hill's there, right? Hill's going to be a guy that's going to get at quarterback a lot of the rushing touchdowns. So you got to at least take off 6 touchdowns there. So now you're looking at a 10 touchdown season at a minimum, right, as a floor. Then you got to look at a natural regression from the 377 points. And I also got to mention, this is very, very important, guys. Very important. Week 16, he had a 53.2 point game. No, sorry, that's standard. Let me pull this up in PPR. I apologize, guys. He had a 56.2 point fantasy point game in week 16 of last year. Going into 2021 fantasy football, you got to factor in that one of those games where he crushed it was inflated because he had 56 points. Like, you would have probably ended up, so technically, if you minus the 52 points, he would have finished third in PPR behind Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry. So, again, without Breeze, with new quarterbacks, Taysom Hill taking a bunch of the goal line work, natural regression, I'm just going to probably avoid him altogether because I think his ADP is high based on all of these signs showing and pointing to a possible natural decline and a different scenario there for Alvin Kamara. Talent is good. You're going to get your 80 receptions, possibly. At the beginning of when I was talking about him, 80 receptions as a floor, but Breeze isn't there, so maybe that's a bit of a decline, right? So Alvin Kamara, I got him at 8. I'm personally not drafting him, but it's up to you guys. His ADP is going to be super high. He's going to come off in the top 6 picks. That's totally up to you. Coming at number 7 here, and it's weird because the mainstream are all over this guy. He's sitting at 6 on them. He's sitting on 7 for me, and I'm really high on Jonathan Taylor and would be much higher on him if Marlon Mack, the pest, wasn't there. I got him at 7 now. This is probably going to change for me. It may go higher. They brought in Carson Wentz. The O-line is solid. Jonathan Taylor proved that he is the guy there. Again, currently sitting 6 on the consensus, 7th for me right now. Love Jonathan Taylor. Love the use. Love the talent. Love the opportunity. Love the O-line. Love the situation. I just got to see what they do with the wide receivers. They're bringing T.Y. Hilton back. Michael Pittman's there to distract the defenses. I hope they have, more of a threat in the air to open things up for Jonathan Taylor, and I hope Mack does not become a factor. Mack, again, not a good running back at all, if you ask me. Years to hours were not, wow, that's why they drafted Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor last year, proving he is the guy. I'm personally going to try to target this guy if I can get him for value. Probably not going to be the case. He's going to be coming off probably mid-first round, at least based on the way the rankings are looking right now. So, it's going to be tough. I just hope Mack doesn't become a thorn for this guy. Coming at number 6. Now, here's the one that's like, oh my God, really? Number 6? How's that even possible? Last year, he finished 7th amongst running backs. The guy I'm talking about, where did he finish 7th? Yeah, James Robinson. Now, James Robinson currently sitting at number 16th. They did bring in Hyde there with Jacksonville. I'll tell you a couple reasons why I'm super excited about James Robinson. There's many reasons why I'm excited about him. So let's talk about him. Number 1, he was an undrafted free agent, finished 7th in PPR last year amongst running backs. Again, why they didn't copy and paste this guy particularly is because he's not popular. He's not a popular name. It's just this low market. The mainstream doesn't like it. They've got other guys that they've been kind of sticking to. So that's what they're going to stick. They're going to stick to their Austin Eckler. They're going to stick to their guys that are going to bust. Like last year's Kenny and Drake, right? They're going to continue to feed the nonsense down your throat. Why aren't they riding Kenny and Drake now? How about Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Remember when everybody told you Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the guy, but I was telling you guys, yeah, I see the ceiling, but you got to understand it's a throw for his team, and he might not get the volume, right? Everybody was all over Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year, mid-first round pick. So the reason is because they want to save face and they don't like popular opinions. But who cares what they're doing? We got to focus on what we're doing. James Robinson, I got him in at number 6 right now because, again, rookie year, undrafted free agent, 1,070 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns. That tells me if he finishes 7th in his first year, the ceiling is, the sky's literally the limit. I don't think Hyde's a threat. Hyde sucks. Okay, I'm not concerned about him. James Robinson is the future. And again, the 240 attempts, 14 games. Let's say he plays a full 16 games. Those attempts naturally go up. I'm looking at a floor of 260 attempts, 1,200 yards. That's going to, his 1070 is going to go up to around 1,200. We're looking at maybe 10 touchdowns at least. And we are having potentially Trevor Lawrence on that roster. Might get him on the roster as well. Jacksonville may draft him as well, which could be a boost for Robinson as they start throwing the ball more. There's a ton of upside with this team. They're going to be a young team. They're going to be dynamic. I think James Robinson gets more volume. Hopefully Hyde doesn't become a thorn on the side, but I like James Robinson as a guy that you can get for volume probably in the 2nd or 3rd round as part of a robust RB strategy. I got him at number 6. Definitely could finish there. Number 5 here, let's talk about Zeke Elliott. There is some concern about him. My biggest concern with him is the throw first kind of mentality. Dak Prescott coming back. They got CeeDee Lamb. Coach likes to throw. Zeke Elliott, the biggest concern for me is not so much his talent. I mean, yeah, it was a bit of a mess without Dak there and stuff like that, but it's not so much his talent. It's the 244 attempts I see from last year. That's a bit of a concern. Zeke's a 300 attempt kind of guy, right? But even with such a low year, right? We're looking at 6 touchdowns last year, 244 attempts. That's not really good. 223 points, still finished 9th. That was a bit of a low year. I've got him at 5 now because he still is the guy. They got Pollard there that comes in and gets some work. But understand, guys, Zeke Elliott is the guy. So when you look at him, you got to assume that this was a down year. You got to assume that Dak's going to come back strong. You got to assume that Zeke's going to get the goal line work. You got to assume that he's going to have his last hurrah. I mean, he's still young, but already people saying he's falling off. I think it's a bounce back year for Zeke Elliott. He's going to be a safe pick in the first round. And one thing you always got to factor in with him is that he always gets it done. He always puts up the safe points. He always, knock on wood, stays durable. And that's a huge factor when you're looking at any running back. Zeke Elliott coming at number 5. Number 4 here. Now, I'm hesitant on drafting this guy, but I got to put him in here. He's proven to me he can actually almost kind of finish the season. Played 14 games last year. The guy I'm talking about is Dalvin Cook. Now, Dalvin Cook, 378 attempts. That's Derrick Henry. 312 attempts for Dalvin Cook. 1,557 yards, 16 touchdowns. Again, yet another Cinderella year. Second in attempts. Again, when you look at this, I hate to say this. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I mean, he's been so good for 2 years for a guy that was injury prone the first couple years of his career, right? I still, after 4 years, don't really trust Dalvin Cook. And I can still say this sentence here. He's still not finished a season. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, he had this one game, I don't know what week it was. Let me just pull this up here. It was, I can't remember what week it was. He kind of like tweaked something last year, and it was kind of like a hamstring or something like that. I'm like, oh no, he's pretty much done for the season. Sure enough, I think he came back the week after. But the fact of the matter is he always kind of gets hurt. There's something like he's almost like, I know a lot of running backs are kind of one hit away from getting hurt. Part of me just doesn't trust him. Coming off 2 pinnacle years, I mean, he's finally proved that, again, he can almost finish a season. That's good. The talent is there. The volume is there. The opportunity is there. They've got great wide receivers in Jefferson and Thielen. They can spread the offense there, spread the defense, and open things up for Cook. Again, I'm just not sold. Again, you guys you hate on it for whatever. I'm not drafting him, but I got to put him in the top 10. So I can't deny the talent, and I can't deny putting him in the rank. That's why I don't like rankings, because I can simply dodge him and get a running back I want in the 60-round draft solution and be fine, right? I'm not. Let's move on to number 3. Christian McCaffrey. Now, it seems like Christian McCaffrey values modeling more than he does fantasy football, because we saw him modeling for whatever brand he was modeling for, right? Chiefs just have him at number 1 right now. Christian McCaffrey, I told you he would decline, but now we've got a totally new offense. They've got Sam Darnold in there. I don't even know what's going on with this offense. I don't know how much volume Christian McCaffrey is going to get. I don't know how he's going to look coming off an injury and off his modeling. Again, Christian McCaffrey is a bit of a risk because it's not the same type of offense that was there when he had his great year back in 2019. Do I trust him? As a safe guy with no committee. So he's got a lot of pluses. He's got the talent. He's got the youth. He's got the volume, which is always good. You really can't go wrong with Christian McCaffrey. But again, it's a new situation. That's the knock to him and coming off injury. So you got to look at your pluses and minuses, weigh them out, and make an educated decision on kind of what you want to do there. But again, with Christian McCaffrey, that's going to be suspect for me. A little bit predicated on the fact of those reasons of the injury and new offense. I don't know what's going to happen, and that's a big concern to me, okay? Let's move on here. Number 2, I got to go with Derrick Henry. And again, you could say, well, Joe, another one where he had a pinnacle year. How do you trust him? How is he going to do off a pinnacle year? Isn't he due for a decline? Joe, you always talk about decline. I'm going to say yes, but again, this is like the perfect storm with Derrick Henry. You got a powerful back that gets all the goal line work. You got a guy that gets opportunities. And that is a huge thing. When I look at attempts, he was number 1 in attempts, 378 attempts. That is a beautiful thing to see when you are looking at a running back. 333 fantasy points in PPR, 17 touchdowns. Now, you could make an argument that his attempts are going to go down and his touchdowns are going to go down and he doesn't catch the ball. That's kind of the argument to Derrick Henry. But as safe as you can get, barring any type of injury, Derrick Henry is it. I mean, like I said, I was the guy that had him on my top 5 list when everybody else had him outside their top 10 a couple years ago. Then he broke out and everybody's riding his chain right now, right? So Derrick Henry, I got him at 2 based on the fact that solid, durable, strong attempts. No one else there. Tannehill, similar offense. Everything's kind of developed there. So I like the landscape. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry at number 2. But again, like anything else, the uncertainty, a decline could happen. Coming in number 1, drum roll here. All right, now this was a tough one for a lot of people to swallow when they look at it, but for me, it seems like a no-brainer. He's sitting number 2 on the consensus rankings, number 1 for me. The guy I'm going with is Saquon Barkley. Now, this is really predicated on the fact of what the Giants do in the NFL draft. This is pre-NFL draft rankings, but I don't see any reason why Saquon should come out. They finally got a true wide receiver 1 in Kenny Galladay. Daniel Jones now getting settled into that offense. Plus, Saquon Barkley, yes, coming off injury, could be a knock towards him, but he's got to come back. He's going to come back hungry to prove that he is arguably the best running back in the game. All we really have to go on is really a couple years ago on his 385-point performance, right? So it's been a year since he's had a good year. I think that was, 2019 was it? Or 2018? It's just like, let me just pull this up here. I'm pulling this up. He had a 2019 year where he still actually finished top 10, but his 2018 is the year we are going off of here, where he had that amazing year of 385 points, 1,307 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 261 attempts. 2018, that's all we're going on. So again, 2019 finished top 10, but missed a few games. 2020 was hurt. Now 2021, this is his year. It's literally the year that's going to make or break Saquon Barkley. What goes down must come up. There is that reciprocal, right? What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. He is due for an upwards trend year, and I'm putting him at number 1 based on the opportunity of volume. If you can't name the running back behind them, they're probably a good run. That's a good tip for fantasy. If you don't know who the running back is behind them, Wayne Gallman or whatever, like if their name doesn't really matter, they're not relevant, then that's probably a good running back you're drafting. If you got to go Nick Chubb, and where he was drafted end of first round last year, and you know the name Kareem Hunt, there's probably an issue. If there's 2 equal running backs and they're just as good, you're probably going to want to avoid that running back early on, right? You don't want to invest early draft capital when you know you've got one guy who's equally as good breathing down their neck. With Saquon, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, you don't have that, right? That's why they're on this list. So you look at volume, look at talent, look at opportunity, look at that depth chart. So Saquon Barkley, based on ceiling, based on bounce back potential, based on the Giants improving their O-line, based on the fact that they've got a true wide receiver 1 to finally distract the defenses, open things up. Daniel Jones finally getting into his groove. This is going to be an exciting year for the New York Giants. That division has improved significantly. All these guys making good changes in that terrible division last year, right? So I think it could be a good year for Saquon Barkley. And again, I love the upside, love the opportunity. And I think, the New York Giants have made a really good move and a really good move with Kenny Galladay. And I really think the ceiling is high for Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, number 1 amongst running backs, pre-NFL draft rankings, top 10. I got to go with Saquon Barkley here. He is my number 1. So let's recap here. David Montgomery, Cam Akers, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, James Robinson, Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. Those are your pre-NFL draft 2021 top 10 running backs going into Fantasy Football 2021. I'm excited, guys. We're almost there. As soon as the NFL draft comes, that's it, man. We are full flow fantasy football season. Make sure you guys get 16 rounds below. I appreciate you guys. Smash thumbs up. Let me know if did I miss anybody. Anyone else should be here. Remember, you got to look at volume, opportunity, depth chart. All those factors factor in before you put somebody really high and invest early draft capital in them, okay? Subscribe. Number 1 fantasy football podcast. Thumbs up. I'll see you guys next video.